Check, check, quick sound check. Can everybody hear us loud and clear? What's going on, Coach Paul?
Hey, Coach Jay, can hear you loud and clear. How are we doing today after day after the Super Bowl?
Day after the Super Bowl, I lost my bet on the Patriots, so I had to make up a little bit of money in the markets. Decent trading day today. Decent trading day. How was your day, Coach?
Good. Boring. Good, boring. I got in early on the opening and I got out here late.
Nice.
This traded the indices, didn't trade last night, so had a good day and really very calm.
Yeah.
It's
Very, very interesting day across the board, especially if you consider what happened in the overnight session. Two-sided trade if you look at the full day, but from the New York session open, we pretty much saw a rally in the equities. We'll take a look at those charts a little bit closer when we get a chance. We didn't really have much as far as news out today. It was a pretty quiet day. And maybe that's why we just saw a consistent bid. Equities going back to their normal state of just finding a spot to buy it. And we just kind of grind up all day. The Dow made new all-time highs. The S&P and the NASDAQ kind of just grind up all day. Pretty quiet. We did have some Fed speakers out. The president is supposed to be doing an interview, which was supposed to start about an hour ago. Looks like it hasn't started yet, so we may get some movement after the close today. But pretty quiet on the news front, Coach Paul. Anything you want to talk about in the news?
yeah, it was kind of a boring Super Bowl too.
Man,
But
was
other than that, I nothing. There was nothing came. I think the market finally is taking a rest from all the insanity. So there is nothing to talk about from my end.
gotcha. We
Some
do have
good
some
technicals.
we got some job numbers coming out later this week. We get an ADP number tomorrow. Are supposed to be getting non-farm on Friday or Wednesday non-farm, um, which is different. And then CPI on Friday. So later in the week, we'll get some numbers. Again, today was a pretty quiet day, so we could just get right into the charts. There's 36 different markets we can trade with Topstep accounts. And today, to the downside, we had lean hogs down 1.02%, soybean meal down 1.98%, and natural gas, our biggest percentage mover, to the downside, down 8.36%. To the upside, we had soybean oil up 2.55%, micro Ethereum up 2.81%, and silver up 8.2% for our biggest percentage mover to the upside. To talk about our big four, we had crude oil up 1.31%, the S&P up 0.46%, gold up 2.25%, and the NASDAQ up 0.81% on the day to wrap up our big four. I'm going to pull up a NASDAQ chart here on the daily. Coach Paul, what are we looking at?
We had a little follow through from yesterday's bounce off the 200-day moving average. Also, two large days down, up. We used to call that a double bottom on this, and follow through. So technically, if we go back up to the top of the range, probability would favor that. So I'm looking positive again. It did what it had to do on the correction. And today get trading and then closing above yesterday's high is it kind of sets it for me.
Yeah. Pretty bullish action. We were talking about, that 200 moving average, kind of feeling like the market needed to test there. Again, we hadn't tested that 200 moving average since what was that? May of 2025, right? So it's been a little while, but we got that healthy pullback into it. We held the low of that October 10th candle, and 50% was an area, that 25,000 level, an area that the market held. Let's take a look at last night's action. What is that white line? Kind of split the range for the day. We look at last night's open. We didn't really get any urgency on the overnight session last night. It was actually a pretty decent sell-off after price traded above that first 30-minute range. Volume never really left the range. We've kind of fall back into it. Uh, Somewhat of a two-sided trade today, but 25,000. And Coach Paul, we say this all the time. What is the market's reaction to whole number levels? And in this case, we had price trade below 25,000. But every time we got down there, it was doing it on no volume, which no volume to the downside, which is kind of saying to me that there's either a lack of interest to continue to sell there, or there's a passive bid kind of holding this market up. Either way, really no interest below 25,000s for sellers, and just a nice spot to potentially look to buy. What are you seeing here in the overnight start?
Just we opened up, we gapped open
Yeah,
from Friday's large move. And like you said, VWAP didn't leave the range. Price did. Buyers either they had to get out from being short, whatever the reason.
yeah,
Um, they moved the market higher and they couldn't find buyers to follow them, which was actually at the Beijing Open, um, Shanghai Open, and watch when we got back under VWAP and into the opening range
yeah,
and just meandered. And I mean meandered like
yeah. It took forever to get down there.
and we did that until London opened. Or it was after the London
After
Open, but
London Open.
Europe Open. Yeah. And it wasn't even it was just very weak movement. Wouldn't say weak price movement, but just like I said, meandered. Big point was this morning we opened under the 200, under VWAP, and the first 3 minutes,
New York
what did
session open.
we have? New York session open.
So here is New York session open here, 9:30 Eastern time. Uh, Highest volume of the day at that point, which is normally going to be the case unless we get some type of anomaly in the middle of the day. Uh, but highest volume, close above it, and that was it. This was kind of just a one directional move until we chopped after that grind up. I mean, from the low to that high, the move what was this 500 points in the Nasdaq. Uh,
Yeah.
we did consolidate for the rest of the day, but a really nice opening range trade here. You took this trade, Coach Paul.
Yes. Um, I was waiting for it. Two things that what it did, it tested the overnight low, and it was large selling volume that didn't hold.
Right.
And it had some urgency. Um, we talk about this all the time. How many times out of 10 are you going to take that trade,
Which one?
coach?
The buy?
Yeah.
I guess I have to say 9 out of 10 because I didn't take it today. Uh, I was short the Russell, and I'll explain why I was short the Russell. I'll have to say 9 out of 10. But if I see that DNA, yeah, I want to take it. I mean, this is a beautiful pullback to New York session VWAP here. Yeah, I mean, maybe I dropped the ball on this one a little bit, but you know what
Well,
you know what, Coach Paul, I did short it. I shorted the Nasdaq once, and then I said I'm not going to short this again, and I'll take that as a win.
yeah.
I'll take that as a win.
eliminating one side.
Yeah,
So, yeah, I heard you said, and good thing you didn't, huh?
yeah,
Um, but from there, I mean, it tried to break, but look what happens every time we touch this VWAP, anchored VWAP. It gets bought
it,
every time we touch till we closed above. Then we closed above session VWAP. It was over.
yeah,
But it was basically at that time who was stuck in the short side
yep,
more than buying. So
yeah. Big Sexy in the chat says that
that's
overnight low sweep with a bounce in the same opening candle is a 10 out of 10 trade. I agree. I agree.
yeah, yeah, it's a good point.
Yeah,
So yeah, other than that, I mean, especially it was. I think it's very solid coming out of to finish higher like that after that rebound from Friday. So
agreed. On a higher time frame, it's really still in this range we've talked about. Is this a healthy enough pullback to now give us the longer time frame buyers that we need to kind of push up here? Um, we'll see, but uh, it looks like for now the downside is out of the way. Of course, we got jobs data, we got headlines that could potentially move these markets around, but it looks like we might just be going range to range. And kind of right now we're right in the middle of it. Right in the middle of it. Coach Hoop putting that
okay.
Topstep risk disclosure in the chat. And anything we say is for educational and entertainment purposes only, uh, not for any type of trading or investment advice. Let's take a look. I want to take a quick look. The S&P, very similar to the NASDAQ here. Uh, you know, less than 1% off the all-time high here. I want to take a quick look at the Russell. And I was short the Russell today. And, you can see, made $200 on this account. I was completely wrong about where the Russell was going for the day. Um, we can see it on the daily. It looks very similar to the Nasdaq and S&P chart. I got short the Russell, and this is the difference between a trade and knowing where the market is going to go. A trade has an entry point, an exit point, and should have, you know, some type of confirmation and invalidation. Now, I got short the Russell on an idea that it looked like it wanted to sell. We had this full session view up, which is this red line. We had the New York session open. Did I preempt this trade? Probably. But sometimes you're going to preempt trades. When you do that, though, why did I cut this Russell trade? Coach Paul knows. Who can tell me why did I cut this Russell trade? It took it for a profit. Part of the reason was, hey, I want to get a $150 a day so I can be eligible for a payout. But what invalidated this Russell trade? Based on how Coach Paul and I look at the markets. Could have been a sweep. We swept that overnight low as well, like we were just talking about. That could be a 10 out of 10 trade, but this is where, sometimes you say, oh, you're not smarter once you get in the trade, but the market may not validate it. There you go, Bink. Close back inside the range and volume never left, right? So you say it all the time, Coach Paul, we trade on fragmented information. By the time I was getting into this trade, it looked like VWAP wanted to leave that range in the first 3 minutes. And sometimes if you want to try to take the trade early, you're going to have to preempt it. But if I held on to the bias that no, this market has to go short, I didn't care where the Russell was going to trade today. I just wanted to trade it, right? Because it looked like we had the potential to move. So if I have no bias and the market doesn't agree with my trade idea, I can't just hold on to it because I'm in a trade, right? And that goes more so, forget the trade strategy, more so to the psychology of a trader. Is there anyone in here who enters a trade and wants it to go against them? I don't think that's the case, right? Like most people aren't going to enter a trade and say, yeah, I can't wait till they stop me out, right? So what I'm very conscious of is uh trying to rationalize a trade when I'm in it. I'm a strong advocate of saying, hey, you're wrong on this. and don't try to get married to it just because you're in a position. You can always cut it, right? You're not. It's not till death do us part with the markets, right? And if you think that, the market will separate you from your money. Um,
Well,
and it
just a further to that, Coach. You said it's. Why do I say it's fragmented?
get new
Well, when
information
you get
every.
in it, you get new information. It won't make maybe that information doesn't change your thesis of getting into the trade, but why would you ignore something new?
Right.
That would be instead of anchoring on VWAP, you'd anchor on your opinion,
Yep.
and that's where the emotional, um, trading emotionally will ruin you,
For sure.
because you're attached to your ego.
I mean, look at how wrong I was. I was
That's
so wrong. There's no limit to the amount of money that the market could have taken from you because, you know, at a different point, I maybe would have added to a short, scaled in, said, "Hey, you know what? You were gonna go against me. Fine. I'm gonna just throw more size at it, and that's gonna fix it." And it doesn't fix anything, right? So, assessing your trade and assessing how the market agrees with your trade idea, I don't see there's anything wrong with it. I actually think it's extremely important to do that, right? Is the market validating what I'm looking for? And if not, I have one or two choices. I could let it invalidate me at the initial stop point, and my stop was, you know, above this high, or I could just take what the market was willing to give me for being wrong, and then reassess from there. But yeah, very happy I cut that one because market didn't follow through. And a nice rally after that also.
Also, I was more confident about the S&P and the NASDAQ when I saw that Rusty was being sold like that because
Mm,
it lagged behind the NASDAQ and the S&P, which told me they would talk about a rotation trade, and that spread. I mean,
yeah,
it gave me a little more confidence.
for sure. Uh, Shout out to the Dow, made new all time highs today. Pretty much right on the open of last night. New all time highs 25. What is that price? Or sorry, 25. 50 33.90. 50 33.90 new all time high in the Dow. Made it in the overnight session. Don't think we traded back to it. That was a weird one today for the New York session. It that man,
It's hard to talk about. And you go back and look at the close from Friday. So it had that funky close.
yeah,
Someone was stuck. I don't know. And then we gapped open when stopped, but that settlement price was literally one of the top ticks of the day.
yeah,
It doesn't happen that often, like at the end of the week. So I mean, it had to come back and fill.
yeah. Really flat day in the Dow while everything else kind of moved here. Anything else you got on the equities, Coach Paul? We can move over to the metals.
Let's go to the metals.
Take a look at gold here. Gold on a daily. What are we seeing here?
Oh, still haven't settled. Did we settle above 50%? That's what I want.
We did today.
Kind of friendly here. Not kinda. That's that's a bullish bias above the 20. Wow, it's pretty bullish movement,
It is.
and it's like $1,000 drop. What $1,000 drop
Yeah, right. Like nothing ever happened. We could be talking about all time highs in gold by the end of
this
this
week?
week. Yeah, if it really
Yeah,
wants to get going. Um,
yeah. So very friendly and slow action. But if the Bulls, I don't know if they. Here's the key point here: if there are shorts here, if you're short here in a trade, how nervous are you?
Probably I don't feel great about it.
Right? And so back above the 20, closing. This is the highest close since that big break.
Yeah.
That's above the 50%.
Yep.
It's positive action.
For sure. Let's take a look at the 30-minute chart here. Above that 200 moving average on the 30. Uh, I think it is still kind of two-sided trade a little bit here in gold. You could see it. You know, we were up 2.25% on the day, but that's from settlement price. There really wasn't a ton of great price action today. You know, settlement price in gold from the prior day was somewhere around there, somewhere around 49.80. Right. So if you look at it, it's up 2.25%, but
That happened in in the first half an hour.
right.
It might have been in the first 5 minutes. If I, it was big. Now remember, this is from the overnight over the weekend, and look at that volume in the first 5 minutes.
Yeah, I think that might have been the highest 5-minute volume of the day. Uh, no, there was some more, but again, it wasn't a clean move to the upside. And shout out to Dakota who got short. Right, we see what's the market's response to a big fat round number, right? 5,100 made the highs of the day above that 5,100, but look at where volume is, right? There's not a lot of interest above here. And I think, and Hoag's been saying this, you've been saying this as well, Coach Paul. Gold is still has the potential to be pretty range bound on that higher time frame, just because of that major drop, right? Even though we're back above 50%, I wouldn't be surprised to see gold in this balance range for a little while. So, you know, fading the extreme up here, traded above 5,100, volume doesn't. I think to me, this kind of looks like a tough trade day, but shout out to anyone still trading gold.
Well, you just said, look at the. I stopped watching it after I reviewed it this morning,
Mm,
because I didn't. It still didn't have this morning at 7 o'clock Central Time, and VWAP was not moving. Price moved out of that range. Look at VWAP never left that first half hour. So yeah, it's suspect.
yeah,
It, to me, that's why I think if it gets going tonight and it brings some kind of volume to the upside, it could. I mean, it could ignite. I'm not saying it is, but right here, it was tough.
yep,
Unless you're a good range trader, and then you'll say to me, "This was one of the best days I could ever have." So, but um, we did make the low on the opening. We tested it about an hour later. Well, no, about 2 hours later. Still held into the range. I still like this market. I think it's pretty strong right now overall in the longer term.
agreed. Big Sexy says, what was that gold volume spike all about? Honestly, I don't know. Today was a very quiet day. I was on air at that time. I don't really know what came out. You can frame it out though. You can see the market respected that volume. Whatever happened there, that range 50 on a 3 minute, it's 50.65 up to 50.79. We held that price a couple of times, so keep that on your charts. I don't know what caused that though, to be honest. Paul H,
If
hit the like button. Shout out to you in the chat. Good to see you. Made 250 ticks today in gold. Nice trading. Nice trading.
Nice.
Take a quick.
Looking at that high volume, if you were just looking at the candles, what would that would it really didn't move.
No,
And that can also explain that it's two-way trade. That large a volume, and we had a little about the average size candle.
yeah,
So we are finding some trading and some balance here. Or for market makers, it's safe. It's safe to come back for now.
for sure. Let's take a look. Quick look at silver. I haven't looked at silver in a little while to trade. Uh, it's that white line there. Coach Paul, they're saying you moved the market in gold. Uh, Here is silver from last night. Globex open. We'll frame out the Shanghai open as well. Shanghai open, I'm going to do on a 3-minute, but silver, another one, set the low on the day. Not the cleanest directional price action, right? Kind of a two-sided trade as well. At the Shanghai session open, 8 p.m. Eastern time. This candle right here. Two-sided trade, another one. Well, let's look at the daily here, Coach Paul. What are we seeing here? We haven't gotten back to 50%.
It's not. It doesn't look like gold, does it?
No.
It's still that poor market F is in shock still.
Yeah.
The way I see it, we're talking. We talked about this last week, and I'll reiterate it. The fringe new traders that were in there. Some of them, we probably had decent percentage got wiped out in that break, $114,000 range. And they're probably not coming back. So we're slowing down. This is different than gold. We're at the 50-day moving average under the 20, and we're losing volume and we're losing volatility.
Yep.
Does that set up for another level? Possibly. I mean, that has that flavor to it, but I don't know the future. Right here, we know. Looking at that, we're finding balance. When we find balance, we take range out and volume out. That says we're taking out volatility. Because and if we look at the daily VWAP, it was flatter than the gold. I mean, it didn't move.
Yeah.
So what I look at as an observation here at that chart is we found balance after a big break. It's a market that I don't want. I need more information. I don't, what what could it do? It could go. The markets don't owe us direction. They don't.
I want to pull this
It
up
could,
really quick. Sorry
we
that
could go.
go ahead, Coach Paul.
We could go sideways for 3 months here.
Yep. Absolutely. Just pulling this up. That 100-ounce silver contract went online today at the exchange. Traded 860 contracts. So a bunch of people were saying, "Hey, when is Topstep going to get that contract?" When it trades more than 860 uh, in volume, it's pretty much nothing. So we're not going to bring an illiquid market online. So it'll take some time, right? Today was the first day trading that 100-ounce silver contract. So it will take some time. For comparison sake, the big silver traded 47,000 today, and the micro traded, let's bring this up, put the micro on the board. The micro traded 177,000. So I have to do a little bit more than 806 to
On top of that, too, it's a very dead day. There's not much
yeah,
range, so
right.
I'm glad it's there.
Yeah,
I have it on my live stuff. I will trade it.
nice. Yeah, 1-ounce gold traded a lot more for sure. All right, let's take a look. Crude
How
oil.
long?
Go
How
ahead.
long's the 1 ounce gold? That was today also.
No, 1-ounce gold has been online for a little while.
All right, so that that makes sense.
Ounce gold has been online for a little while now. Let's take a look at crude. What are you seeing here on the daily?
Oh, I see. It's accepting this higher level. If we can look at a weekly quickly, and I'll tell you why we've accepted this higher level. Look at the weekly, and it tells the story much better.
Yeah,
Now It's been friendly. It's getting the breaks aren't being sold or the rallies aren't being sold. It's finding this balance. It's a long time, still friendly. Going back to the daily, look at the volume from last week on the weekly. It was very high volume,
Yeah.
and it matched the volume from the rally the week before, and we're trading in the middle of that range. And we had a nice buying. It's still by the dip. So, anything else you see there?
Exactly that. Exactly that. Find a place to buy it. It looks like it's holding up. Every week so far has been a higher low since we started the year, and that's sustaining. So, I heard somebody say that crude oil had the potential to be the market of 2026, and it's been a decent trade. Been a decent trade. Let's take a look at that J trade candle from the low. It's basically the 20 moving average. Looking at VWAP from that J trade candle from the low. Uh, this trade is still valid until it isn't. Um, Maybe we're flagging a little bit here, basing, but headline driven market. I think there's a lot of headlines that are moving around that could move this market. Another one where I think there might still be some trap shorts in here as we continue to push up. So trading pretty well. Trading pretty well. Let's take a look at the 30-minute here. Last night's open, Globex session open. Set the low for the day. We know crude oil doesn't trade too much in the overnight session. So we can just go right to the London session open. That's the 30-minute candle right there. And completely different day, right? If you ignore the chop session, because unless there's some type of anomaly that's going to move crude oil, you're probably going to get an overnight session that looks very similar to this, which if you're a range bound trader, maybe you trade that. But if you're looking for direction, that started in London, and that was a pretty nice trade once we started to break out.
Yes, that London Open is so important. I still haven't made. I'm getting up earlier.
Yeah.
I haven't gone full London Open life yet. I, I I do like a good full English breakfast.
Okay.
It is a treat. And I don't know how beans got onto a breakfast menu, but it is pretty good for breakfast. If you have for the American audience, it's a treat.
Yeah.
But outside of that, I don't have to have that. Plus, I don't want to gain back 25 pounds. Um, it was we've seen this. If you're going to trade energies, you might want to start in the London hours. Um, and that, like you said, that was urgency. And that's why I go back to buying the dip. And what's happening, it's the dips have been bought.
Yeah.
This is further evidence. Um, is that the look at the volume on that?
That's
Was
the
that
that's
the
the 1 minute. That's the 1 minute London Open. Set the low. We came back and tested it. Didn't get urgency right away on a 1 minute, but it did leave eventually. And then you know, if even if you weren't awake for London today, give us a little bit of a nice opportunity. We had a nice house count trade, 1 minute opening range in crude oil. I think the guys did take a long here. I don't know when they got into that trade because it did take out the low of the opening range after closing above, but I know they got long and it was a hell of a trade because they were long from 63.30. Yeah, 63.30. So right about here. I mean, I guess when it's that small of an opening range, this is only a 25-cent drawdown. I'm sure they took more risk than that. I don't know where the stop was, but that's a really nice trade there in crude oil. That's a full dollar move um, in a market that a lot of people are looking at and saying, hey, it's stuck, it's range bound, it's not really doing anything. It's a nice trade.
yeah. And that had urgency on the 1 minute.
Yeah.
Let's say it's proof. So if we go through, there was buying on the Globex Open, smaller extent. There was heavy buying on the London, and there was heavy buying on New York. It's changed its character and started at the beginning of the year. Can it follow through? Oh, I don't predict the future. I can only trade in the present. following the trend. The trend has been buying the dip. And
Yeah,
we sure saw that today.
100%. Let's take a look. We went through the
What about,
yeah, go ahead.
what about natural gas while we're at
Pull it up. Natural gas on a daily.
turning around? Okay, look at the size of that cell. So let's frame that out. All right, on the daily, that hasn't recovered from that heavy selling. I mean, what is that? That's like double the average on a daily.
Yeah,
That's um after this big rally. I mean, it was over freezing at some point today in Chicago.
yeah. This weekend, man, was
Almost.
brutal.
Yeah, was it brutal
This
in New
weekend
York?
was brutal. Yeah, it was. I think yesterday was like it was 0 degrees, and with the wind chill, it was in the negatives. It was bad. It was bad. I went outside to walk the dog, and I'm like, okay, man, we got to make this quick because frozen out here.
Yeah. Now, we have that weather report, right? And we don't recover from that large selling. We had it was bigger than the buying on the way up, right? That
Yep.
you just framed out. So that if we look at that as the new opening, we have not recovered from that. And now we're trading at the bottom of that with small ranges at the 20-day moving average. I'm putting that on my player's card
Yeah,
to watch.
it would be interesting.
Um, breakthrough. I mean, natural gas has a history of going sharply in both directions in a short amount of time. So, look at is that the gap from last night?
Yeah, it gapped down on the open. Held that first 30-minute candle for a while. We know natural gas starts to move around midnight Eastern time, which is this candle right here, this purple one I just mapped out that kind of set the high. Maybe kind of tough to trade. It wasn't a whole lot of great price action, a lot of back and forth, but could be interesting with this big gap down on the week to start the week. If it holds that gap, could be very interesting. I see people in the chat. Nice 70s in LA and Alachua, Florida, 71 degrees. So enjoy your nice weather. Enjoy your nice weather. You know what, Coach Paul, being in New York, and I'm sure you in Chicago, it just makes you appreciate the summer that much more.
What would life would get boring if there wasn't changes of season?
Yeah, I think so. I think so. Maybe we're just saying that because we're stuck in the cold in the wintertime. But it does make me appreciate it makes me appreciate two things. It makes me appreciate travel and it makes me appreciate the summer. Uh
There you
yeah.
go. And also watching the down, watching the skiing, the downhill event.
Oh yeah.
That's a perfect place for snow.
Oh yeah.
Doesn't have to be in this. That I appreciate it. Watching some of the Olympics. Those that sport.
Yeah.
It felt like the gold break and silver break of last week.
Yeah.
How do you? It's incredible, incredible event for
Yeah.
me. But
Shout out to Lindsey Vaughn. That's tough. But
yeah,
it's tough. Uh oh, now everyone's sharing. Austin, Texas, 83 degrees, 70 degrees in
all
Colorado.
right. Let's see it. All right, who's 83 degrees? That's too hot for me.
I don't know. I think I'll take it. I'll take it. Is it easy to manage risk on natural gas? I've never traded it. There's micros, MNG, you can trade. Um, I think it moves pretty well. I would trade the micros if you've never traded it before. But natural gas, I think most times it chooses a direction, it stays in that direction. That's not financial advice. That's just an observation. It's a market that likes to trend. You do get these pullbacks every once in a while, but I would say yes.
It's a good question, and I'll add to that. Um, it has the nickname as the widow maker.
Yeah,
No, I think that part doesn't. It's from people who hold positions. All right, what I mean positions, swing trading, investing. Um, sizing upright So if you're going to trade, you trade the. They have a micro, or is that the mini? They have a
There's a
mini that's
micro.
a
There's a
quarter of
micro
the size.
MNG.
Okay. Not a M. Okay, MNG. This alphabet soup is starting to confuse me. Oh, it's MNQ, MNG.
Yeah.
So micro, there's a mini. Before you trade it in a practice account if you want to trade it. That will give you the feeling. And look at the average true ranges. Use that. That will give you the idea of how volatile it is in that moment, and you'll get acclimated to the contract and the size of the swings. Then you can begin to manage your risk at the proper level. Is it easy? That's a trick question because you can always manage your risk.
Right.
But first thing you have to do is know that contract that you're trading. And you have to know how it moves, how what the average move is in dollars. All right, then you can position size, but that same principle works for anything you're trading. And so start with the micros. Know what the average true range is in your um, time frame you're using, and then from there, it's a principle. I'll never say it's easy, but if you make it a habit, then you won't enter a market without measuring that and knowing that. Does that become easy? No, that becomes habit. So
Take a quick look at micro Bitcoin, maybe recovering after a little bit of the selling that we had. I would be watching this high volume candle that we had on the downside, one of the highest volume candles we've seen on a daily in micro Bitcoin, maybe ever. We're trading inside of it. We closed inside of it on Friday. Took a look below that low, tested that 60,000 level. On a 30-minute, we are right at that white line. What is that white line there? We start to claim back above that. I'll be happy about my HODL position in Bitcoin. Uh, but if we continue to see some selling, I wouldn't mind buying at 50,000. We'll see what happens here at this 200 moving average. But volume did not trade above it. Price tried to advertise above it a couple of times. We're kind of stuck near this 70,000 level, but a little relief in Bitcoin over the past couple of days. Anything you want to say here, Coach Paul?
yeah, that you just mentioned it's a huge volume and a reversal. So that didn't come from the big volume didn't come from some rotation of a month to month basis. That was that selling at the low was the puke. All right, and just this volume right here, that selling stopped, and just like you said, it was classic. We're sitting at that 20. Prove to me we can get some VWAP over that, and I might dip my toe. No, I won't. Might if I'm watching it, if I can get volume over it, I'll take the risk of buying it. If it fails here, if it fails here, it's the new lows.
Yeah,
It's very important levels.
100%. See here. I think that's it. We went through the major markets, Coach Paul. If there's any others that you want to talk about, anything else on your scouting report, we can take a look. But we went through the majors. We can take a look at the calendar for the rest of the week. Again, we do have some data out tomorrow. We got retail sales. We got a couple earnings. The WASD report for any of our ag traders is tomorrow. So
Don't trade in front of it.
don't trade in front of it.
You do not trade in front of it.
Unemployment. We got jobs data coming out later in the week as well. Bunch of jobs data, right? We were supposed to get non-farm. We got an ADP number. We have jobless claims, CPI Friday. So there's a ton out later in the week. Anything else, Coach Paul, you want to talk about?
You know what? We were looking at the yen,
Yeah.
And you talk about a trade that I was getting bearish to it. I was looking for a sell. So let's go and watch last night's action.
Last night's action in the yen. Oh, real quick, somebody asked, where was the VWAP anchored on micro Bitcoin? So this one, this yellow one, I just anchored to that the highest volume 30-minute candle from, I guess that was Friday, or
Yeah.
Thursday.
It was Thursday.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Thursday. Highest volume 30-minute candle from Thursday. That's that yellow one there, and then the red one is always going to be anchored to the the Globex session open. So right at 6 p.m. Eastern time when everything else opens. But I think this is an interesting one to watch because that is the candle that started the reversal. So as long as we continue to hold that, similar to what we saw in crude oil, right? Crude, we had where was that on the daily? We were anchoring it from the low of the year, and it's been a support. It'll be interesting to see if Bitcoin does something similar to this, continuing to grind up. But let's take a look at the yen. Little relief there as well, Coach Paul, on a daily. What are we saying here?
All right. So we broke down. We had that big intervention rally. We broke down where we made lows on the close. When we were talking in Friday, I was looking for an extension of that, and let's see what happened in the first half an hour.
Some urgency there.
Well, if we make that bigger, we can see there was selling. And we made that low. We gapped lower. So if we anchor the VWAP like we do, it became a urgency buy.
Yeah.
I didn't take that buy because I came in looking to sell it.
Right.
Then I got busy doing something else and I stopped watching it. But without that bias, if I just came and saw that, I'd have to buy it.
Yeah.
All right. We came in with urgency, had a good rally. We got back above the 20, the 200. If you notice, when we see these urgency days, what happens when we get to that anchored VWAP from the opening? We find more buying.
Find more buying. Yeah.
So, attaching yourself to opinion, my opinion was it was going to go lower, and it did initially.
Yeah.
And not just selling it blindly. You're a trader. You have to evaluate. We talk again, we get fragmented information all the time. We don't, especially scalpers, but we don't get that information. No one's calling us up as don't get short yen. But what we can do is read and react. And if we make decisions, we're decision made, we make consistent decisions based on, as Coach Jay is told, not getting in front of the shark. Here, getting short would be getting getting in front of the shark. So it was a really good buy. My analysis Friday was that we're going to get continuation. If I looked at that chart again, I believe that too. But I read it. I saw what we gapped down and we finished near the highs. I didn't even look at it till this morning again. So right here, I'm neutral. But I just wanted to go through that because we talked about the yen Friday. And like it did, it gapped lower and found buying. Don't get stuck. It was much like your trade you were talking about, Rusty. You
Yeah.
don't have new information comes in. At this point, it was buying.
Yep.
All right. Is there any other markets you wanted to go through?
I think that's it. Equities are still pretty interesting, presenting a ton of opportunity. The WASD report could be a mover. We saw,
Ooh,
soybeans and things like that moving earlier this late last week. So could be interesting, but I think that's it, Coach Paul. Anything you want to say before we head out? I got some question here from Yair. Found out those positions. My daughter. Your daughter plays the wing and point guard.
Okay.
Okay.
He's a
Nice.
shooter.
Yeah, she's a shooter. It sounds like she's a shooter. She can shoot the three. Great positions to play. And yeah, just again, make sure she's having fun and learning all aspects of the game. How to handle the ball, how to pass, see the court, read the game. But nice. Nice. Good to hear. Any
You're
questions you got?
learning the game too.
Say it again.
Yair, you're learning the game
Oh yeah,
too.
yep, yeah. As a parent, I'm sure you're on YouTube looking up drills, looking up, ways to have fun. Coach Hoop, use the crossover. Sure. Have fun, experiment with the game. That's one of the all the best kids I've ever coached. They would sometimes they would do stuff that as a coach it would drive you crazy, right? It's just like, why are you trying to do a reverse layup when you can barely make one with your left hand? But go ahead, try it. Fail. Figure it out, right?
At the right time.
Exactly, right. Do it at the right time. But if we're in
Big
practice and
lead or you're
ex-
behind a lot.
yeah, exactly. But I think that's it, Coach Paul. Anything you want to say before we get out of here?
Again, in standard practice and habit, plan your trade your plan. Don't take marginal trades. All right.
Yep.
And with that, we'll talk tomorrow.
We will talk to everyone tomorrow. We got Coach Hoop doing the class at 6 p.m. Eastern time. Then after that, Coach Ray and Coach Vince, 7 p.m. and 8 p.m. Eastern time. Coda with Slow Markets tonight at 8:30. I'll be joining him. Then we have Aaron with the London trade, 2:30 Eastern. Aaron with the London Open, 2:30 Eastern. D with the Euro trade at 4:30 Eastern. And we'll be back tomorrow for the opening call, 8:15 Eastern time. Trade well, everybody. Manage your risk. Hit that thumbs up button if you haven't done so already on the way out. And we will see you all tomorrow. Have a great night.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.